No, stop it. Hey, son. Okie dokie. We're going to continue on yet again, same painting. I'm going to have to pretty much glaze this house, so I'll approach it a little differently. As you can see, I got the slat lines in here and all that fun stuff. So, we're going to work on the slats and all that stuff. So it's gonna pretty much probably take a few seconds. Anyway, back to the Stay Wet palette. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some glazing. All right, I'll put the I'll put it down here for right now. All right. I would like to establish a little bit more depth in the painting. Okay, and I'll start with these trees back here. The lighter trees, it'll push these two up front a bit. All right. So what I'll do for right now is I'll draw back just a little bit here. Not too far back. I can actually just slide it over a tad there like that. Okay. So basically I want these two guys to kind of come up front. So I'm going to have to glaze a little darkness back here for these trees. All right. Every time I shift the camera, I'm going to have to adjust the focus, of course. So, hello, Madonna. Hope things are well with you. So, what I have here on the palette is titanium white, burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and that lamp black. And reason being, I want to use some shadow color. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna really do it with the. I'll do it with the flat brush. I'm gonna just dip my flat brush in the water just to loosen the bristles a tad. All right. All right. I'll do it with a little bit of shades of a little bit of gray. I'll put it right around in here. I'll get some brown, and we're gonna kind of gray it out a little bit. And I'm just making, once again, a shadow color. All right. Now, obviously, I got on nothing but this thick paint. You can't make a convincing shadow with that thick paint. I'm gonna take a little bit of glycerin on my brush, and I'll just kind of mix it in here. Okay. It'll rub off of my brush. Okay. And once again, it's just a little bit of shadow color. Now, the mix of glycerin to paint ratio is very important. Okay. Because if you have too much paint and not enough glycerin, all right, it's not going to be as opaque. Transparent, rather. Transparent is what I'm aiming for. All right, I'm going to get a touch more glycerin. You almost need a little more glycerin than paint. I'm gonna go into this already thin mix here with it, like that. Okay, because I just want a nice thin shadow on the where you see the greens here, and basically just kind of, really just kind of, you know, just kind of darken them in a little bit here, just like that. And I want it just dark enough just to highlight the trees, give a little separation, that's all. And you're just glazing a little bit of dark color into that background just to soften it up and bring out the other two trees. a little bit more. All right. Let's take the camera. We'll move it back over here. So we can go back here and pretty much you're gonna do the same thing. Just darken up the sides there. And you bring it out up there. You get yourself a little bit more. And if you don't have it dark enough, you can always go back over it again. Now with the glaze being a little thin, don't worry about it. It will dry rather quickly. It's pretty warm in here. I can feel the heat from my lamp there. Okay, but that's basically it. All right, just to kind of add a little more shadow back there. Okay, all right, let's go a little darker. I could use the same color because you're not doing nothing but making depth of shadow. Okay, a little glycerin, a little touch of glycerin, not much. So I'm just adding a little more paint to the glycerin. And I'm gonna add a shadow to the ground back here. A little darker shadow because we're actually on the shadow side of the house. Okay, we're gonna bring that shadow right on around in here. Right in here, just darken it a little bit. And basically you're just wiping on that color right along in there. Now, to keep in line with the perspective of the house, now I still got the ruler here. Hey Kathy, how are you, dear? It's good to see you. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing all right. Let's see if I can find a quick pencil. And I'm going to just take my ruler, take the corner of the house, which would be right about there. Now I know where the line is. I'll correspond that line right there. Now that's going on with the corner of the house, so it's like right about there. You figured it'd be out here somewhere, but it's not. Because I'm taking the, I still didn't get rid of the vantage point line. So I'm going right from the corner of the house. Okay. Trying to put the ruler back here. Here we go. All right. Take my brush and basically just fill in where that line is for the house. Now I can bring it out just for aesthetics sake. It's not really the true line, but I'll put it out. I'll put about that far, just to show that there is shadow there. So I'll bring it out a little bit further. Don't necessarily have to bring it out that far, but you know, we got it there. It's all right. Okay. Okay. Let's get a little more glycerin. We'll make a lighter shadow for some of the shade of the ground here. Doesn't really matter what color you choose for your shadow, but I'll kind of shade some of that in down in here like this. Just like that. Pop some in here. And I'm just adding a little bits of shadow. Now, with glycerin, you can wipe it with your finger, smooth it out. That you can do. Just like that. Okay. So if I bring this, well, I would have to put this upward. Put the camera up. And you can kind of see what's going on. I'll bring this, still not working. But here, see, now you can see what's going on down there. Okay, that's what the glycerin will do for you. And since I'm already out here doing what I'm doing, I might as well shade in these two trees. Excuse me for the I'm gonna be moving this thing around a bit there. And let's pull back a little. Okay, now, same shadow point, same shadow. Still got the glycerin on it. And we'll add a little bit of love right here to the shadow side of the tree here. And it just adds a little more roundness to the tree. Okay. Bring some of it out here. Come out here a little bit. Okay, like I say, it rounds out the tree a little bit more. Add a little bit of that love right here. And you're basically, once again, just shading the tree. And you can have this as light or as dark as you feel you need to. All right. So you see, it already brings all of that out. And what it does, that dark color, it brings out your textures and your hues and everything that are dark. It just kind of pops them out a little bit more. Obviously, it's not going to overdo your shine, but it gives you more detail on the side there. Okay. All right. And once again, it just settles things back. Now you can clearly see a separation between the two trees there. Okay. You see more of a separation in the grass. There are some shadow areas. You see the dark area, the dark side of the house. All right. Okay. So that's basically what glazing can do for you. All right. Yeah, it's good to see you, Kathy. I know it's been a little while. Okay, let's take Mr. Window and pop the window over here. Get it out of the way of the house. All right. We'll zoom in a bit on the house here. I'll bring this down a little bit. I'll probably zoom. Let's keep it right there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see how far I can kind of get away with it here. I'll bring it up a tad, right around there. Should be all right. Okay. So let's mess with the. Well, let's deal with the little sidewalk here. The sidewalk, whatever, kind of grayish. Add a little bit of brown. We'll come over here. Add a slight touch of white, and it'll just gray this up a little bit, just like that. Okay. All right, now I'll just take this and I'll kind of dry brush it right in here a little. Tap it and fill it in here. And I don't really want any of the paper to show through, so come over here on the other side. I'll get a little touch of water instead. Just loosen up the paint just a little bit. Adding water to it has its advantages and disadvantages. Being that water, it will dry, but it also has a tendency to streak a wee bit. Okay. Because the water kind of breaks apart the binding of the acrylic paint. So you might get some little streaks and whatnot. But the advantages of water is that it dries ridiculously fast. Okay, so there's a little give and take when it comes to doing it with water. All right. Doing it with glycerin doesn't necessarily break the binding at all. But obviously you're gonna have to wait a few minutes because it is a what they call a retarder. So it will slow down the drying time, depending on the ratio of paint to water, paint to glycerin mix. And the temperature of your room. Okay. All right. Okie dokie. Well, we got the sidewalk kind of done up there. All right. Now that I did that with the sidewalk, I can take a little bit of glaze. Okay, remember we're on the shadow side of the house here. So it gets a little bit of love here on this side. See, you can kick the glaze and just kind of deepen sidewalk a little bit there. Just like that. Just kind of darken that a wee bit. But you see it didn't darken all of it. It's still, you know, you still got the little corner of the house there. Okay. All right. You know, little details like that. Okay. All right. How are we going to mess with this house? Well, I guess I'll deal with what color do I really want the roof to be. So we'll deal with the roof right now. Well, let's take a little bit of white. Thin layer of white, side of the brush. And we're just gonna kind of pop a little bit of white in there, just like that. I know you don't see it, but you will notice it when I put the other colors on. And we're gonna let it dry. So our roof will be a little rough looking. I always kind of like an interesting looking roof anyway. So I'll pop in a little bit of white. Now what's gonna happen is that the white will show through when I put the layers on. So it's gonna look like, you know, this roof has been through a little battle or two when I glaze this stuff on. But just a little bit here and there. Just to rough it up a little bit. Okay. Let's go with a little bit of brown. And a little bit of black this time. All right. And we'll go with some white, just like that. We'll gray up the roof a little bit, just like that. Now what I'll need is enough glycerin on here to loosen up the paint, to get it transparent enough. Okay. Once again, it's a gentle blend of how much glycerin to paint, and you know, the size of your brush also. So we'll do a little bit of a test run here. Hello, Barbara. Hope you're doing well. And we'll come here and we'll just kind of bring it on down. And just deal with the roof right now. Don't worry about streak and strokes because they will disappear. It'll even itself out. Once again, I'll take a little bit more care with this guy because of the fact that now as it starts to dry, you'll see. Should have told me to move the camera. I'd have moved it. There we go. Anyway, see, you'll see this. You start seeing the little white patches there. Okay, so that was my bad. Hey, Travel Dreamer. Okay, let's just slide it over a little bit there. All right, so we'll keep on the roof more or less like that. I forgot to add some white to some of this up in here, so we'll kind of pop a little bit of that love up here, just a little bit there. Oh, I think we got enough up here. Kind of mark that with my finger real quick. Okay, back to this stuff. Now remember, it's got the glycerin on it. Be mindful of your edges and where you are, which is why I'm marking it like this, because I'm at a weird angle. I don't want to I don't want to do it too sloppily. And I have to be careful with the glycerin mix, the ratio, because on the shadow side of the house, once we get done with all of this, in this side of the house, I have to glaze the whole thing. But you'll see. Once again, you'll see all sorts of things happening once it's dry. Now, if I see that the paint's starting to dry, and it will, I'll just reactivate it a little bit with more glycerin. Alright, once again, it just reactivates the paint. It's getting pretty warm in here, so it will dry a little bit more. Okay, alright. Now, usually I would use a thicker brush for this, usually. Okay, see, he's starting to streak a little bit, but I can kind of go over that. Now remember, when you keep going over it, it just gets darker. But I can get over it, straighten it up a little bit. I wasn't planning on doing this, but and if it's too watery or too glistened out, I can go back over it again. Right now, I just want to get to the top here. Hold on for a second, guys. Somebody knocking on the door. Hey, Hoswina, how are you? Well, it almost seems like old home week here. It's good to see you guys. All right, let's get back to this. Let's bring this down. Now, because this house is a little more detailed, I gotta be a little more careful. Now, I got I would usually use a slightly larger brush for this. Usually. Now, with the glycerin, you can still, while it's somewhat wet, you can still move it around and play with it, shift the colors a little bit. Pretty much like I'm doing now. Getting a lot of paint off the fur of the brush, and then I can guide it around. Okay, and that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. Okay, once again, I'm not looking for a perfect flat mix because right now I'm covering the area, and then as I cover the area, I can, hopefully my head's not too much isn't too much in the way. As you can see, I could kind of move it to even it out a bit. I didn't really want to go that low. That's all right. I'll fix that later. Once again, I'm blocking it all in. I have to be a little more exact with my painting. Go back up like this, and I'm just smoothing out some of the stroke marks there. Remember, you might see white patches in there because of the white paint. Get as close as I can to the edge. Get a little bit more. Close as I can, just like this. as I can, so I can take it and go back up and match it all. Match it, match it, match it, like so. Alrighty. This one's a little dark, which is, it's the shadows of the house. It just kind of, it's fine, but I can wipe some of that away. As you can see, I can take my brush, wipe it, and continue just to wipe it away, just to make it a little lighter. Go the other direction. You can lift the paint up, lift it off. It's all good. Go in the other direction, lift it, lift it. See this? It scrapes right off. And then once you do that, you just brush back over it again. Smooth it right out. No fuss, no muss, guys. This brush maintains a pretty deep edge, so I'll take a little bit of blue, a little bit of black together, mix it in. I'll mix in a little more blue than black. No glycerin, just a solid paint right now. And I'm going to paint in the inside areas here. Now, why am I using blue and black mixed? Because it's a little more gentle on the eyes. It's not a really super solid black color which would stand out like a sore thumb. If you don't want to use a flat brush to do such a detailed work, you don't have to. All right. It's something that I'm kind of comfortable with. I'm used to doing it. But if you want to do it with a script liner or rigger brush, that's fine also. Whatever helps you out to get the job done, that's what you can use. All right.
Yeah, that tree out there.
All right.
Look at it.
I'm gonna get a little touch of water just to loosen up the paint. It's not gonna make it transparent or anything.
I wonder if it's green car.
Yeah, all that crap on the ground, just all around it. Just popular.
And
I wonder if I should call and report it. It's been doing it.
I don't know. I don't ever see anyone out there. All their
And their garbage is still out there.
Yeah.
there's like this. Just like that. Now once again, these dark areas, they're dark, but it's not solid black. Okay.
They don't have nothing.
All right. Oh, let's add a little bit of that love right here.
Far out there, they don't
That-
play it.
That's the one upstairs there. And there's a reason it don't get plates on it, and I can't remember what it was now. But he's in the process of, he brought the car, now he's got it. I think it would be, we need to see.
We can add those little lines.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a little more water.
Good, at least just for us just not sit there.
So, I think he gets sad and sometimes he goes out there and sits in
I see them out there starting it up. Oh, that's old, so that thing gets old.
All right. And I can add a little bit of love to the edges here. Like I said, a little more attention to detail for this house. Small details like this. Like I said, you don't have to use a you don't have to use a straight edge brush like I'm doing. Not necessarily. It's really whatever you're comfortable with using, all right? I gotta go on the opposite side here, on the opposite side of the house. And kind of pay attention to where that opposite side is. You really don't want to kind of shadow the wrong window part. That just makes for bad mojo. All right, we come here, we add a little bit of that shading right in here. Okay. Obviously I would use a smaller brush for something that tiny, even if I was gonna, if I was gonna do that or not. Okay. I'm just looking at the chat there. All right. Let's let me color in this door. I guess I'll use basic brown. I'll use a little touch of water instead. Some of this will be water, some of this will not. I'll just use basic brown for the door here. Now, as you can, you guys can't tell that I'm bracing my hand on top of my other hand just to make it a little sturdy. As you can see, the brown's a little bit on the thin side, kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna inch it over as best as I can to the side there, and then kind of move it on its upward like that. I'll come back down. Sometimes the little strokes and streaks might look like little bits of wood grain or whatever. Get around the corner. Like so. All right, so hey. Like that. Let's go on the other side. Pretty much the same deal. It's a slightly smaller door. Like that. Hey Bill, how are you? Let's get a little bit of, guess I'll deal with a little bit of just straight blue for a second. Once again, this 1/2 inch brush kind of maintains a pretty decent sharp edge. And I'll play around right in here. Be careful. Kind of keep it, try to keep it as straight as you can. Try to keep it as neat somewhat as you can. I'm trying to inch my way up there. It is just for the trim of the house there. It's really up to you how much of it you want to employ. I have to just be careful, find a bare spot where I can place my hand. This is solid paint. Why? Because it dries faster. That's the only reason why I'm doing it. Okay. once again, I know you guys don't see my, and it's just paint right from the tube, the ultramarine blue. Then come on the other side here. Going a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side. Let's see, all that will dry by the time I come back to it. It's going to need to dry when I get a stronger, a larger brush and I glaze for the dark and the light shade of the house. So it'll slowly start coming together here. Just like that. All right, okay. Let's get us, we'll use the rigger brush for right now. I'm gonna go back into, well, we'll go back in here. What kind of glaze? I'll use this color. And we'll start putting in some kind of shading for the windows here. Just like that, we'll kind of blend it with my fingers a little bit. Something like that. This is just a little glycerin and paint. Like that. Somebody asked me, I don't know if they're here in the chat. They asked me if you don't have terracotta, what color can you use? Really, it's sienna and a little bit of brown. You'll get your terracotta. Maybe a slight touch of white, maybe. The windows, the darkened windows on the other side, you can pretty much do the same thing, the same shade, because everything will be darkened. Not much glare on the shaded side of the windows, so you can kind of cover them up a little bit more. I'm gonna use a little bit of water and get some more color here. I don't have to use glycerin, just a little water. You can kind of do one of those numbers. Now the color that I'm using to get this is a little bit of brown, a little bit of blue, and some white, and a whole lot of water. So it's really thin, almost like watercolor. You don't have to block in all of the windows, just the majority of it, because there's not really any sunlight hitting over there. All right. Hold on one second. sometimes my tutorials can be a little lengthy, I know, but hopefully what I'm showing you, you can apply it to whatever subject you're doing. I'm just happening to apply these techniques to a house. I mean, you can paint a yacht and do the same techniques. The techniques don't change, just the subject changes, not necessarily the technique itself. All right. Okay. All right. Hey, Jessica, how you doing? All right. So we got that underway. Let's take the same rigger brush and we'll go with we'll go with a little bit of white. We'll put it right here. It's all right. A little white, a little brown, just like that. And I'll use a little bit of white paint there, loosen it up. This is like a script liner, just not very long. Okay, we'll go do it here. And right now, I'm just gonna go over and make some quick window panes here. I'm gonna get some more paint, roll the paint. Roll the paint. You can try to make it as straight as you can. Now, I don't want it to be an architectural piece. It's not really that. It's just, me really just painting the house. I would approach it a little differently if it was an architectural design of a house. I'm getting a little more water because I can feel my paint getting a little stiff. I just want something a little more solid. Like that. I'm gonna get a little more brown. A little more white, just to thicken the paint up just a slight bit, because you also want to thicken up for it to show. Okay. And I really want to try to go over this just one time and not a dozen. So. Don't worry about anything like that. Once again, I gotta be in a position where I'm not entirely in you guys' way here. So, forgive me. Hopefully I'm not obscuring everything while I'm doing this. Believe it or not, even though it's the last three windows, I'll need some more paint. Once again, I gotta get the thickness there of the paint. I'll loosen it a little bit with a little touch of water. All right, thank you, Gracie. I appreciate appreciate you. All right. Let's go up here to the top. I think you guys can see how I'm holding my hands now. Okay. 2 more windows. Sonia, what's happening with you? Your hands are cramping up. Keep in mind some of the glycerin that I've used earlier, still a little shiny, so it still might be a little bit wet. So just be a little careful. Okay, where am I at here? Let's make it darker gray for 1 second. Now I'm on watercolor paper, so obviously it's got a little bit of tooth to it. Just remember to roll your brush. Ugh. All right. And just let it dry. I forgot one spot, and that's okay. I'll just go into the blue. And sometimes you do if you're kind of really in the zone about a certain spot. Once again, I'm gonna need a little water to smooth the paint out, loosen up the paint. Now, I'm only using a small rigger brush, so obviously it can't retain too much water. got one more frame. This ought to be fun. I'll just take some more brown. Got the door frame itself. Now I'm painting at an angle, which isn't, and that's because of the camera, but that's all right. I just gotta place my hand to where some of this paint, if I put my palm down, the paint's not gonna come with me. So. Once again, it is mostly paint. I am going to darken up this one. A little light on me here. There we go. Let's darken the other side. The other side is looking a little light too. Right here. Right here. Just deepen that a little bit. Okay. All right. Not too bad for being freehand. So everything's a little bit rough, literally around the edges, but it kind of softens everything. So we're good. What do I want to do with that Nah. You do it enough times, you know, you'll learn you'll know to relax and really just be easy with it. You'll be all right. I think I'll still use this. It's no problem. I'll just get a little bit of this dark, put it in here like that. We'll do some make pretend bricks up there. And we'll do some make pretend bricks. Why not? Something like that up there. It's all right. Get a little bit of darker brown. And we'll just do the other side real quick here. Okay. There, make pretend bricks. All right. All right. Of course. There's always one straggler I tend to leave behind here. We'll put a little bit of dark brown there for the center of the window, right here. All right, all right. Okay, I will be using a slightly thicker brush. We'll do the lighter side here. Actually, we can just go right back to we go back to the 1/2 inch. I should use a slightly larger brush, so we'll use a slightly larger brush today. All right. Okay, we'll use this flat brush, 3/4 inch flat. What color shall I make this house? I'll still stick with a little bit of brown. Maybe a slight bit of blue in that. Let's darken it a little tad there. just like that. All right, let's get some glycerin here, plenty of it, just like that, and put it right in there. I don't really want too dark a house, so we'll kind of lighten it up a little bit. Should I deal with that? If I do, let's lighten it up a little bit more, like that. That might work. Let's get a little more glycerin, put it in there. It breaks up the paint that's on my brush and loosens up the paint a little bit. Okay. We'll experiment. We'll start on this little spot right here. Yeah, that might work. That might work. I'm using a thicker brush because it'll just get done that much faster, basically. And I want something color-wise a little bit light, so when it dries, you'll still see some of those little lines in the you'll see some of the lines in there. All right, now I'm just gonna make sure I stick with the right color. All right, but we'll see as we move along here. If it's too much like the roof color, then I'm gonna have to change it. But we'll see once I do it here. The good thing about doing glycerin is that I can change directions. So you'll see as I do this what I'm talking about. It's probably why I don't do too many of these on a live, because the time it takes. Remember, this is the lighter side of the house. Once again, the glycerin moves around. It expands when it dries, so. Let's add a little brown to it. We'll darken it that way. It's my experimental part here. I'm using the corner of the brush, every bit of the brush. Like so that works. Now to do enough of that to cover the other half. Now I want to show you something. Let's get enough of it here. So I'll kind of expand it a little bit. Now watch what I'm going to do here. Remember, this is not water, this is glycerin, so it will move around. Okay. Now that I've did the windows, did the doors, did the frames, right? Right. Am I gonna, you know, like keep an open spot in there? Nope. They all get colored in because it is the shadow side of the house. Okay. So it all gets that treatment. Matter of fact, even that gets that treatment. Go right on up there. Then I'll just take it and wisp it across. Get rid of some of those lines there. Just like that. Don't worry, when it dries, it'll show through. It will definitely show through. All right. Okay. A little more, to get a little more glycerin. Still maintain that color. Just like that. Oh, he was enamored by the tuna painting. He really enjoyed it. He loved it. He described to me what he wanted over the phone. I just put it in the memory and sketched it out real quick. And the mountain, or the rocks in the water, and all those schools of fish was my idea. Everything else, he really enjoyed it. He loved it. His wife was a little busy trying to count all the schools of fish. It was funny. But he really enjoyed the painting. He loved it. He was very happy. Like I said, I think by far that has to be the largest. Go right over the door. Remember, this is the shadow side of the house. Don't worry about the streaks. The streaks will disappear. This is one of the advantages of vegetable glycerin and transparency. All of them streaks will go away. I'm just right now blocking in everything. I'll smooth everything out in a second. Because the paint is moved, you can move the paint around. Okay, it really doesn't matter what direction you're going. You see the paint moves around. So once again, it really doesn't matter the direction, because glycerin expands when it dries. All right, so don't fret. It depends on your brush strokes also. Okay, let's take a little bit of this black-ish color here. See if I got enough. And you can kind of play around with some shadows in there like this. Right up under here. See, you can get those shadows in there. So it's like shadows within shadows. Okay. Right in that corner, come down a little bit. Keep moving it around there. All right. Get a little cast shadow there. Wipe off my brush. Soften that edge a little bit. Just kind of tap that edge. Just soften that edge a bit. All right. We're gonna get a little bit of that love in here too. Just like that. Come on down. A little bit of curved shadow there. Just like that. All right. Well, thanks, Travel Dreamer. Fatama. But as you can see where the white paint was? See that? Okay, see how the white paint just gives you those markings? Okay. See, add those little shadows in there. Okay. Just like that. You gotta have those little cute shadows in there. All right. Okay. Let's take some of this brownie black. Oh, let's pull this back a little bit. Put it around here. Let's put the focus back on it again. And basically, I'm just kind of making things a little deeper here. It kind of draws your attention to this guy. See where it kind of all that bright leads you over here. Okay. Okay. Hey, Rosemary, how are you? a little bit better. Something like that there. We'll give it a little hint of something over there. Not there though. Well, we'll do a little bit of outline right here. Slide it a little bit. Actually, this knife is a little large for it, but yeah, it's a little too large. Let's get the smaller one. Large. Something like that. I don't have to add too much to it. All right. All right, let's make this disappear for a second. Okay. All right. I'll get that. That's when I had cut the tape. It happens. Don't worry about it. It happens. Now, the painting, the house pretty much looks like it belongs there. All right. You're not getting really direct sunlight, but you do know where the sunlight is from here, from up around here. It hits the edges there. Okay. Even you see little bits of it here, the sunlight here, but the shadow is important. Okay. Yeah. Little cast shadow here. Okay. Got the shadow down here for that. All right. And it really, to be honest with you, if I can get away with it, and I should, let's get a little bit of black. I'll pop it in there like that. I mean, if I really wanted to, actually, you got shadow right here, to be honest with you. Just like that, from the hutch itself. So, like so. And I can just take my finger and kind of get rid of that hard edge there. I can soften that edge up a little bit. All right. Okay. It depends on where you know, if the sun's back here, it's going to catch that a little bit. But that's pretty much it, guys. Pretty much. We'll kind of deepen that little part right in there. I'll just push it the other way. Now, when you got too much of glycerin or whatever, what you see happening usually happens, but that's all right. We'll take care of that too. So what I have to do is add more paint than glycerin in this area, but that's all right. We'll just kind of get rid of some of that there. We'll make that a little neater. So what I'll do with that is we'll just add a little more paint to that. something like that there. So you can always correct it. All right, so hashtag don't. Hey, Bruce. Hashtag don't panic. Hey, Sleeve Stacks. Good to see you. I know you guys 74 inches of house. What was I gonna say? Oh, well, Sleeve Stacks is gone, but it was good to see you. All right. Whew. Well, anyway, there she is, guys. All complete, all finished. I don't think that took me too long. Did hour 17 minutes. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Anyway, the house is finished. It's complete. It's well, there. Added a lot of glazing to this. Actually, essentially, I just glazed the whole house. But the house is in a way that it truly belongs into the painting, so it's not a complete super architectural, super neat, clean, straight edged house like it was, because I handled everything pretty much freehand. Okay, after that, so it kind of softens everything and makes it look like it belongs into the painting. The grass is a little more manicured than what I usually do. Okay, they actually have a lawn. All right, our little wildflowers are still in there. We still got a little bit of shadow, but this time I led the sunlight into the direction of the house. Okay, so it's right there. All right, which is why I put some of the highlights there on the house a little bit. Roughened up the roof two ways by adding, before the color was there, I just added white paint in spots. That's why you see the spots there. Okay. Then once you paint over it and it dries, you get these little patches. All right. So it just looks like natural wear. Then I just took the palette knife and popped some color, some white in there. All right. Yeah, I did the details and everything of the windows and the coloration and stuff. You still see the coloration in there. All right. They're still in there. Okay. But then I just glazed over the whole thing. All right. So the whole thing's in shadow. Okay. All right. So you can distinctly see two different sides of the house. Okay. This is still, believe it or not, 1 point perspective. It's the same perspective I use for the horses, and there it is. So I never moved the painting, so a ruler will go right. Everything goes right to that line. So still 1 point perspective. All right. The horizon line is actually here. Okay. And that's it, really. Even the path leads. All of this, anything going in that direction leads to that dot. All right. Everything else, believe it or not, is horizontal. With the top and bottom of this, everything else is horizontal. Okay. So it's angled to the left and going horizontal to the right. So it's still 1 point perspective. Okay. All right. You got our two pines, a bunch of deciduous trees in the back. Okay. The trees back here, it's just a mixture of, God, I forgot, but it's this blue with whatever opposite to make that kind of a grayish tone back here. All right. So that color was implied. Now this was more like sap green and yellow mixed with white for the highlights. Then I just toned it down with some glaze. Okay, bringing these guys out. Okay, and then with these guys on the shaded side, I just glazed it. Pretty much almost the same color I used the glaze that. So I'll glaze that side. Then I added some more here and back there and whatnot. So it's a lot of glaze. The whole house was glazed. So. Okay, Bruce, sure. No problem. Can't rewrite up a lease agreement. You're funny. Hey, Marilyn. Yes, you sure did. You came just in time for the end. But nice painting of the birch trees, Bruce. I was looking at it. I was checking it out. I was actually on the road a lot today, so a lot of you guys' streams I caught while I was driving and everything. So, but it was good stuff. All right, now that I'm done with this, what next? I have no clue. I have no idea what I'm gonna do next. But I did want to finish this, you know, and get it done. So, well, if anybody's interested in this thing, just email me or message me or whatever. All right. I am going to take a picture of it, and you guys know the deal. I'll make a thumbnail of this, and then I'll post this on Bookface, and you know, so. But yeah, I'll let it sit around for a little bit, and then I'll varnish it up. And I have no spot really on my wall, so it'll just sit on top of the cabinet. But yeah, very impressive. I like the trees. And you covered up a tie-dye painting before you did it. Yeah, I caught it. Those flowers are my dandelions. Oh, yeah. You figure I would have had it out by now, right? They're all set and ready to go. Actually, they're on a USB drive right now on top of my cabinet. Yeah, I can probably do that. I could probably release them then. But yeah, I got the advertisements and everything. They've been set and ready to go for months. Yeah, I'll get off my procrastination, and I'll post them. And I got my PayPal and Cash App information, and yeah, I'll get it all set and everything. And anybody should be able to follow them. There's words that pop up on the screen. There's definitions that pop up on the screen. There's some nice music in the background that does not overshadow the voice, because you know I don't talk very loud. So yeah, I really took my time and did them. But yeah, they are ready. Everything is set and ready, and I guess I'll get them things going. So, okay guys, I believe that is it. It's only 5:10. Wow, amazing. Okay, I guess I'll practice or something. No problem, Travel Dreamer, but they are there now. I'll get them ready. Bruce, Kathy was in here for a few. I have to chat with you about that too. We'll make some time to probably, I don't know, it depends on how busy you are, but we'll talk and everything. So, all right guys, I appreciate you. Enjoy your Wednesday, middle of the week already, and I shall see you guys